Carol, the Eagle Lady, coming up. 8:32. A bald eagle, you might have seen this in the newspaper, but it might have got eclipsed because of all the weather stories and everything else we were talking about. But a bald eagle was killed at Norfolk International Airport Tuesday. A plane hit it while it was landing, and the eagle was on a runway. About 8:30 in the morning, was hit by the landing gear of a U.S. Airways Express flight operated by Air Wisconsin. That according to Robert Bowen, who's the deputy executive director of that airport. Airport firefighters use techniques to chase away eagles or wildlife that get close to runways, he said. But in this case, no one saw the eagle. And Bowen said he didn't know whether the eagle was a male or a female. A female eagle was killed by a plane landing at the airport back in 2011. Since the fall of October 2012, the city has contracted with the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Wildlife Services Division to remove eagle nests at nearby Norfolk Botanical Garden. Now, we've discussed this before, and perhaps we'll discuss it again, but Carol Senechal, I hope I'm pronouncing Carol's last name. We had Carol on before about this, I find, a most interesting topic, and then she contacted me a couple of days ago after the story about this one poor eagle being killed, and she said she wanted to come on and discuss it, and so I thought that would be a good idea. And Carol is the founder of the Eagle-On Alliance. Good morning, Carol. How are you today?
How are you?
I'm well. Now, Carol, before we get started, pronounce your last name again.
Senechal.
Absolutely correct. I just wanted to check that you knew it. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And also, it's Eagle-On Alliance.
Right.
Now, tell me the origin of that. What is your point for existing? Eagle-On Alliance, before we get about this particular issue, tell me about the organization, your reason for existing. Go ahead.
Eagle-On Alliance was formed in November of 2012, or actually earlier than that, when the city got together with the USDA, and they were convinced by the USDA that the eagles at Norfolk Botanical Garden were a huge threat to the airport. And this was after the death of the female that you just talked about. And we came up with other solutions to this issue. There are so many other issues at the airport as far as bird strikes go, then eagles are the absolute least important. So we formed a group to try and convince the city to seek out other options and to present other options to the city besides applying for a permit for nest removal. Since October 4th of 2012, when they removed the first nest, they have removed 8 more. We are trying to get them to stop and leave these eagles alone. What they're doing, as evidenced by the eagle strike on Tuesday, just isn't working. I mean, they've removed 8 nests from the garden, and an eagle gets struck on Tuesday.
When you say remove,
this is not working.
Carol, when you say remove, do you mean remove and then put somewhere else, or do you mean destroy?
No, they're destroyed.
Oh, okay.
They are torn down. And then they are chipped, put through a.
And so, So these people who are doing that, what do they hope, or what do they tell you that they think the eagles are going to do?
Well, they hope, or they said, and I think they know this isn't true because they've discussed it many times. They hope the eagles will relocate, and we discussed this the last time I was on, that eagles are so territorial. They aren't leaving.
They come back.
They will stay here.
Right.
These eagles have been in this area for 12 years. Okay. They're not going anywhere.
Now, I always, you want to think that, and as we've discussed before, that people, it's incumbent upon human beings to make sure that as much as possible we try to protect wildlife and things that are unable to protect themselves against human encroachment. But I can remember a couple of years ago where I was going to visit my family in Nevada and leaving from Richmond, and the plane was delayed for hours because it had hit a bird, and they had to check and make sure everything was all right. Is that part of the concern that the people on the other side of this issue have? That in the long run it will, I guess they worry about accidents and also delayed flights, or what argument do they make? What is it that they fear will happen that they want, that they disagree with you?
Well, of course, no one wants any damage to people, to planes, or to eagles. Mm-hmm. That is the last thing in the world anyone wants. But it is incumbent upon every airport in this country to make sure that their runways are safe. They have lots of means at their disposal to do that. We want them, that's been our whole argument all along, Norfolk International Airport, every other airport needs to take care of their property. As long as they have a good wildlife mitigation program in place, they can keep wildlife off their runway. All you need is a guy in a truck with a horn and a pair of binoculars. And, scanning the runway at all times during daylight hours, and a loud horn, a shot, anything will disperse birds from the runway. And Norfolk International isn't even doing that.
Yeah,
and I want to stress again, the last thing the EOA wants is for anyone to get hurt. But the only way to ensure that is to make sure that they do their job on their property. If they see an eagle, that's fine. Get the eagle away. They have every permit in the world to be able to do that.
Has there been any, have they in any way put forth the idea, or is it possible to actually literally not just destroy the nest, but remove the eagles and put them in another habitat that might be more beneficial to them, or is that beyond the realm of possibility?
Well, and we discussed this before too, they can capture them. They can relocate them. They can take them anywhere they want, but they will be back. It may take them a couple of days, but they'll be back. They're not going anywhere. They are so tied to their territory. You can take them. They were discussing at some point moving them out to West Virginia and putting transmitters on them and just seeing what happened. It may take them 2 or 3 days, but they'll be back at the garden.
All right. So what would you like to see happen, Carol?
I would like for the airport to take some of their millions and millions of dollars that they have to spend on wildlife mitigation. We want them to hire some full-time wildlife biologists. We want them surely with that amount of money they can afford one full-time employee and a pair of binoculars. They don't even have that. They do not have a full-time person doing wildlife mitigation at Norfolk International Airport. That's what we want. Keep the airport safe by all means. Do what you have to do to keep the bald eagles away. We don't want the bald eagles hurt. We don't want people hurt. We don't want plane damage.
Now, Carol, I know a lot of people are listening, and I know we discussed this before, but as you know, not everybody listens for all 4 hours every day. A lot of people, and I would include myself, we were wrong. I thought, when I heard this, I thought that there was no creature on the face of this planet that was more protected than eagles. So I was surprised that this story even exists. What is the nature of that with the federal protection? What are the rules when it comes to protecting this particular bird?
The bald eagle has made a huge comeback since DDT almost wiped them out in the 70s. And bald eagles were taken off the endangered species list, if you will. But they are still protected in the country under the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act, which means that they have to be, you can go out and you can capture an eagle, or even you can shoot an eagle, but you need a federal permit to do that. They just need, back to the airport again, and I'm sorry to do this to you, but back to the airport again, they just need to put wildlife mitigation procedures in place to keep their runways safe. That's all we've asked them to do. That's all we'll ever ask them to do. And what they started in October of 2012, removing eagles' nests at Norfolk Botanical Garden. This is 16 months later, and they said this was going to work. They have removed 8 eagles' nests of these eagles at MBG, and another eagle was killed on Tuesday. Clearly, what they're doing isn't working because no one is doing their job at the airport. And the thing that is so upsetting to us today is that the city, neither the city or the agencies or the airport would let our eagle experts in to identify the eagle that was struck, to see if it was one of the resident pair at the garden.
Oh, wow.
So we have no idea whether it was a migrating eagle. We don't have any idea. We were told that it was an adult, but that's all we know. I mean, an adult can be anywhere from 4 to 5 to 50. There are the eagles. We have eagle experts in this area. We beg them to allow us to have our eagle expert come in and look at this eagle to identify it, to see if it came from the garden. They refused to do that. The eagle was picked up yesterday and shipped off to DGIF picked it up, and it is being shipped off today, I believe, to the Eagle Repository in Denver, Colorado. Mm-hmm. So until we actually see our eagles that live at MBG or in the surrounding area, we will never know what eagle this was.
So is it a question of money?
We don't understand that at all.
Is it a question of money?
What, for the airport?
Yeah.
They've got millions and millions of dollars, Tony. It's a matter, I don't know what, that's a question for them.
Yeah. Well, how much have you asked them? Like, have you tried to come up with the money yourself to give them the money to subsidize it?
No, we can't afford it. We are a group of caring citizens who have come together for a cause. We have a lawyer. We're paying our lawyer. It is not up to us to pay for the airport to do its job. It's up to us to bring it to the public's attention that the airport isn't doing its job.
Now, to bring it to the attention, if people want to find out more, give us your website, Carol.
Okay, it's www.eagleonalliance.com.
All right.
And every single piece of information you could possibly want is right there.
All right, but like where it is right now, it would appear from this newspaper story that that as it is right now, that the airport has contracted with the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Wildlife Service Division to remove the eagle nest. So they're doing that as we speak, or they could be. And so what you're trying to do is turn that around.
What I'm trying to do is to get the airport to actually do that. I want is for the airport to concentrate on its own property and get out of Norfolk Botanical Garden. The problem isn't at the garden. The problem, planes don't land at Norfolk Botanical Garden. They land at Norfolk International Airport. Unfortunately, they happen to be near each other. Yeah. There's a lake in between. And the where the garden is just prime habitat for eagles. It's prime habitat for lots and lots of migrating birds. The airport is on the Atlantic Flyway, one of the major north-south routes of thousands and I will say millions of birds, cranes, geese. They all fly through that. So the airport needs not only a program, an effective program, to deal with two bald eagles at Norfolk Botanical Garden, but all of the other birds that fly through the area all the time. And they have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on two bald eagles. 1/3 of their wildlife mitigation budget is spent on two bald eagles at Norfolk Botanical Garden. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
All right. Well, Carol, thank you very much for getting in touch with me. It is a most interesting topic, and feel free to get in touch with me again if something else pops up that you care to share with us.
Hey, Tony, thank you so much for having us on again, and stay safe in the snow.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed talking to you, Carol. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
Take care.
All right,
you
Carol.
Too.
Bye-bye.